Hey everybody, it's Drew. Welcome back to part 3 of the Hobby Boss 148 scale FJ-4B Fury. And where I left off last time, I had everything assembled with the exception of the landing gear. I just put the landing gear in. Main reason is because it's all going to be white on the bottom, including the landing gear. And I wanted a nice strong model glue bond, plus there's some little fiddly landing gear attachments and things that go in there. So just got to be careful. I don't want to break them off, but here's where I'm at. So I'm about ready to start priming. Give everything kind of a little wet sand with some 2000 grit sandpaper just to knock off any dust or anything like that could be hanging around, and any scratches. That way I could get a nice smooth finish. So what I'm going to do next is, before I paint, I'm going to mask all this off here. I don't like to have the canopies on there when I paint because paint builds up along the edges and it looks ugly, so I just keep them off and paint them separate and put them on afterwards. I think that works better for me. I needed to do a little bit of filler right here and right here, but that's really the only places. And as you saw too last time, I used a little Vallejo plastic putty along the wing roots because there was a little bit of a gap there where it attached. And see right here as well. So that's usually common. That's typical on airplane builds, just to clean up the wing roots and some of the seams where things join together. All right, so for priming, oh, by the way, let me show you this too. I've got all the missiles and wheels mounted on cocktail sticks. And I'm going to use these guys. These look cool. These are called bullpup missiles. And I'm just going to load up, arm this bird with those. So there's 6 of them. Yeah. So those are ready as well. So I'll prime those. Basically going to prime all the landing gear doors and stuff on the sprues. Makes it easy. All right, so for primer, I'm going to use my favorite. This is Badger Stynylrez primer. This is the best acrylic primer, hands down, period. And it's also bottled by Ammo and UMP. And so Ammo one-shot primer is Stynylrez. Badger contracts with them and produces their primer and bottles, and so very good stuff. So highly recommended. All right, let me get everything primed and then move on to doing all the painting. So I got it all primed and it's really smooth. So normally I would, or often I take a 3000 grit sanding sponge and just lightly go over it, but I don't think I need to do that. So pretty happy with the way the primer settled down, and yeah, nice and smooth. So I'm going to start with the underside, and for that I'm going to use Vallejo's Model Air Insignia White. And then I'll also paint the landing gear doors and the missiles, and yeah, we'll be getting some color on it. So I'm gonna load up the airbrush and I'll be right back. So I also need to paint the ailerons and elevators white. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to mask them off, of course, before I paint the light gold gray on the top. once the white paint is dried pretty well, I masked everything off. I used sticky tack, as you can see, to mark the little wavy demarcation between the white on the bottom and the light gold gray on the top. I even used some kitchen wrap. It worked pretty good, actually, to mask off a large area so I don't get overspray. So here I'm just using the Model Air light gold gray, and let's go. So I add a little bit of white to the paint to lighten it up, and I'm going in to highlight some panels just to simulate a little bit of paint fading. The leading edges of the wings are silver, so I masked those off and used kitchen wrap again to cover up the plane. So let's see how it works. I wanted a yellow stripe on the missile, so I just masked off the area where the stripe goes and used some yellow paint. Paint them on. These are the inside of the air brake doors, so if you pose them open, you want to paint them red. All right, so that's the painting. I think I'm fairly done. I had a few little touch-up spots here and there, which always seems to happen. You get a little bleed over, or I set it down on something and it's not quite dry, especially in the front here. I'm not too worried about some of these areas because it's going to be covered in decals right here. So got a few little places I need to paint, but I often will do those last, like the wing tips, or the lights on the sides. I went ahead and put the wheels on just so I could have a nice stable platform instead of sitting on the struts. It is nice to know that I have enough weight, so it's not gonna tip over, tip back. And the leading edges, of course, they're painted in silver. Same thing here. I took all the masking off and realized I needed to paint. This part here was black, instead of leaving the mask on and just painting that black. So I had to brush paint it, which it's always a challenge for me. I'm not very good at keeping the brush straight, but I think from a distance it looks okay. And yeah, so next step is I'm going to give it a gloss coat. I'm going to put the decals on and then do all the little final things. And otherwise, I think it's looking okay. It's hard to see some of the post shading, and you can, if you kind of look at it, the light hits it right. You can see some of the panels are a little bit faded. I don't go crazy on weathering, but otherwise it's not a bad looking model. In the meantime, check out some of my videos popping up. I know you'll like some of my favorite videos. If you missed the last video or you just tuning into the series, please click on the playlist and you can catch up. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.